Are you sequestered in a hotel at the moment?
Would you believe I'm actually, my view is of Truist Park, so I feel really happy. The sun is shining, the birds are singing. It's beautiful here.
So when did the players meeting start, by the way? Any idea?
When the players meeting?
Yeah, when did that start already? This morning?
Well, our players, would you believe, have been on the road now for quite some time. So I got in yesterday, and I was with them yesterday, and we went training yesterday up at the place and at the facility, and it was just literally amazing, John, to see everybody and see the new building, which was mostly under construction when I was there. And yeah, and today we did a bit of training. Today we're getting ready, and we're off to the game in a little while, so we're excited.
Okay, yeah. The reason I asked was because if the players were having their players only meeting now while you and I are talking, if you could put if you had a glass in the hotel room and you just put it up against the wall and let us know what's going on in that players meeting so everybody can be prepared for 1 o'clock.
Is this union related?
No. I'm just trying to get state secrets, man. That's what I'm trying to do.
Believe me, John, there are no state secrets. We're gonna put a team out there against Atlanta United today that hopefully will perform and enjoy, and I'm sure Atlanta and Tata and his staff are going to think the same thing. Believe me, I've long learned there are not many secrets in football anymore. So we seem to know everything that's going on these days. But it's it's beautiful to be back here, man. And, in such a big, vibrant city. And yesterday, bumping into some old friends. And, I just said to the boys upstairs, actually, these are the things that you miss the most in life. It's forget the whether we're playing 3 at the back or 4 at the back, but meeting people again and saying hello and giving people a big hug is really what we're gonna miss the most, I suppose, when it's all done.
What did you take from your time in Atlanta that is helping you out with the new gig up there in Lexington?
I would say not just in Atlanta, but everywhere. That every club is different, every culture is different. I think, I came from Seattle Sounders to Atlanta United, and the two places couldn't have really been too much more different, in terms of how they operate on a daily basis, the kinds of people that are around. And then, oftentimes you take it for granted that what you did in a certain place is going to work somewhere else. And to Lexington to be really, okay, observe, see what's happening, feel the unique culture of the people and the city and the community. And then slow just to that, rather than me go in and say, oh, by the way, I've got all these great ideas that have worked all over the place. And so I took to that really to heart there. And probably some things need time and patience, and some things need a little bit more revolution, and I think we've done a balance in that in Lexington, where there is that long-term view, there is that patience to get the job done right. But then again, there are certain things that doing literally within minutes. And so you have to really tend to those things. Otherwise, the fires start burning a little bit bigger.
When it comes to going into new environments, do you see coaches these days have their mindset, walk into their new gig and sit there and say, you're going to adjust to me, more than the other way around, like you're saying? Because I would imagine that those coaches who are comfortable in their own skin understand, okay, I can let my personality breathe and have it fit what's going on. Like you were saying about what you see at Lexington. I'm taking my database, applying it to what I see, and adjusting my thought pattern to where I am. Do coaches sometimes still look at it reversed? It's like you're gonna have my thing, and we're gonna do things my way, and it doesn't work the way that it should. Do you still see that happening?
I certainly see what you're saying, and it's actually really interesting. I had a long chat yesterday with somebody about this, where I think you get a little bit older and you realize that you're not always the most important person in any room, and far from it, in fact. And I think there is a young crop of coaches all over the world right now, some who've recently been fired from their high profile positions in the Premier League, that said it's going to be my way or the highway. This is how I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it in right away. And of some really high profile clubs in Europe that went in and said it's going to be my way or the highway, and a month or 2 or 3 into it, they realize the player still won't adjust, and a little bit of a problem begins. And I think that comes from, you know, that world where we've got my methodology, my way of working, my game model that necessarily adapt to the players. And in any football club, the players are the most important piece of it. They're the ones that drive the whole thing from a results perspective, from a fan perspective as well. And so if they're happy and they're enjoying their time and they're working really well together, then I think that's the most important thing. So as especially as I've gotten a little bit more experienced in these roles, that, you know, a lot of coaches think that players' future is in their hands, and I believe it's the opposite, where the coach's future is in the players' hands. So do everything you possibly can to keep the players happy, in good spirits, well organized, enjoying their time, and the players will then take care of your career for you, because ultimately they're the only ones who go into war on the, you know, crossing the line and all that stuff. And we're just, in the end, we're going to help them, we're going to guide them, and the staff are going to help and guide them. But ultimately, the players are the most important.
So when you're getting ready for preseason match 1, and this is, I'm going to put you back on the touchline for a second. When you're a head coach, you're getting ready for preseason match number 1. Do you, or have you in the past had a set expectation of what you're looking to find in that first match? Result be damned. I don't care what the final score is, or I might care what the final score is. You know, I want to see player development from my younger guys. I want to see if they're understanding what I'm trying to tell them. I want to see if the veterans are understanding what I'm trying to tell them. What are you looking for from your perspective in preseason match day 1?
Yeah, look, preseason match day 1 and most of preseason, the results are secondary to performance levels and the attitude and spirit of the players. I think on preseason match day 1, as you rightly say, is really, are the players, you want no injuries, number one. Want everybody to work in a cohesive way, get a little bit fitter, get a little bit better. But really, you're looking to see some of the key ideas, the principles of the game that you want to emphasize. Are they showing? Is the first week or 2 of training going to be shown in the kind of work that the players do? Are you on the right? Really, I think a lot of it is work rate related. It is attitude related. It is competitive spirit related. And then you say, well, we've got this game model. We've got an idea how we want to play. Are the players fitting into it? And then really that observation comes after the game and say, okay, what did we learn? How can we adjust training next week? What do we think about this player? Some players will naturally do exceptionally well, and they'll go up in your estimation. Players who you had higher expectations for might drop a little bit. What I've learned over the years is giving those young kids this experience in preseason is really, really critical. Giving them those minutes, because they're not going to get them any other places, especially early in preseason. But then some of the more mature, more experienced, more seasoned professionals then begin to come through as the preseason start. And I would expect, for example, from an Atlanta United perspective today, a very mixed group, a very cohesive group, a group that are desperate to show that they're better than their form was last season, and a group that want to show Tata Martino and his staff that they are worthy of a place in a few weeks' time, you know, and I think that's really the key today. So I expect a really competitive exercise, especially from an Atlanta United team that probably this year look like they are desperate to do well.
Yeah, and in these situations where you have the veterans that are playing for their contract, they are being pursued, if you want to call it, if you want to use that word pursuit, fine. If you want to use the idea, yes, proper hydration, Steve. Yes, we believe in proper hydration.
I've got my coffee from the hotel lobby, and believe me, it's the caffeine is what I'm after, not the hydration.
Attaboy. When it comes to the, I guess, the shared messaging, because you have the veterans with a new coach, and they're like, yeah, I've got to prove myself all over again. Then you have the younger guys who have been a part of the system and they've grown up in it, and they wear that crest. They wear that crest every single day, and they know what it means. And so you have them coming into a situation where they're chasing after just as much as the veterans are with a new head coach. I mean, you have interesting dynamics here in play with the younger guys and the veterans who are chasing after the same thing. They all want success at the end of the day, but they're coming at it from different locations, and it creates that competition that you're looking for too.
Yeah, would you believe, John, we have exactly the same going on with Lexington right now that you do in Atlanta United. You know, we've got the difference being that the coach in Atlanta United is very, very, very experienced and very proven, and has won big things in the past. We too have 5 academy players that are going to be as today. We believe in that as well. We've got a young coach in Mac Hemi who's desperate to do well. The boys started well last week against Orlando City. I think what you're saying is really important because you've got veterans who are going to be, you know, they understand a bit more like what Tata wants. 1 or 2 were even was there, so they'll know a little bit more. I'm sure they're all excited to show what they can do. But then you've probably got a bit of nervousness from some of the young kids with of wanting to show well, but also, you know, in the space of just a couple of weeks, it's changed their experience of Atlanta United, not Tata Martino's Atlanta United. That was a different one that they grew up in, a different emphasis that they grew up in. And so now it's interesting. I spoke to a couple of the guys yesterday. They're enjoying it. They feel like they're really fit. Cooper Sanchez looks really skinny and healthy and fit and like he's ready to go for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing little Cooper. And I think those young players are now going to have to, I think it's really good for their education, John, where they now have to adjust to a different coach, because in the long term, if they want to have good careers for another 20, 30 years, then they're going to need to adapt and adjust to whoever is at the helm. And right now, and in a few years, it could be somebody else or a different club or a different environment. So I think for the young players, you know, assimilation into professional soccer, I think wonderful experience.
Do you have conversations with the younger players up there at Lexington about, you know, right now in preseason, you're integrating with the pros that are probably going to be a part of the roster in USL Championship? Don't press, don't overdo, just stay within yourself. Or do you have to dial them back because they may be trying to jump the queue and sit there and it's like, yeah, I've got to show them, and that urgency is there, and they end up doing too much. Do you get to have those conversations about the gas and the brake and the clutch?
I have them all the time. That one, I spoke to all of them yesterday, and all of them are really enjoying the experience. They're all really desperate to show well. A little bit of nervousness as well, and rightly so. They should be. You know, they're in a man's world now, and it's not safe academy sanitized world that they're probably a bit more used to. But again, it's an interesting question, John, because I don't believe in either of those 2 things. I believe in the players go in and be themselves, and if that means they're smashing into tackles with somebody in the middle of midfield, then great. And if that means more technical, that's well. But be yourself, work on your strengths, and show people who you are. Not you know, dial anything because Steve Cook thinks of something. You know, I believe in them really going for it, and the positive feedback I've had is really good. But again, it's a couple of weeks is not a couple of years, is so. We'll hopefully keep tabs on these young players, and hopefully 1 or 2 will come through.
And obviously, you know, we're going to be continuing to ask you about these younger players and who we need to keep an eye on. For those who have not seen the kind of coach that Mac is, how would you describe what they're going to be seeing on the touchline today from the coach there at Lex SC?
Yeah, Mac is a really, really thoughtful guy. You know, he's a young coach. He's worked obviously as an assistant coach in USL. He's been a college coach. He's been a women's coach as well. So he's got a really broad sense of what the game brings. I think the best way to describe Mac is an incredible human being. He really believes in giving the staff the autonomy to do their jobs really well. He also believes in creating a fun excitement for the players, and not over stimulating them with hour-long videos and meetings and things like that. He really does look like it's a player's game. And then he has some firm principles that he wants to embed. And look, if the guys, they're doing really well right now, they're adjusting particularly well. The staff are so happy and enjoying themselves. I went for a beer with them last night, and they were all so full of energy and happy to just be around the group. And Mac's the leader of that, and I think he really gives people that sense of go and be yourself, but more importantly, enjoy this life together, you know, because you're away home a lot, as these guys have been on the road now for 2-3 weeks. So they're going to really come together. And I think the one thing about Mac is that he leads with love, and he leads with compassion for people, and he gives an energy and he gives an autonomy to everybody to go and be their very best. It's not about him, it's about the players and the staff becoming their best, not whether or not it's like this crazy guy on the sideline.
Are there not enough coaches these days that lead with love and compassion? I didn't mean necessarily to get philosophical here, but you open a door and I'm like, are there enough coaches that lead with love and compassion? Do more need to be heading in that direction, or do you still see the rigid approach to things? Where is the state of coaching these days?
You know, I can't speak to everybody because I don't know everyone. I would argue this, that none of it makes any sense at all, no matter what your ideas, no matter how talented you are as a you know, a tactician or anything like that, no matter how much you know about the game. If the players don't feel and staff members don't feel like you've got their best interests at heart, if they don't think they're cared and loved and valued, then you're not getting the best out of people in any walk of life, John, you know, whatever walk of life that is. So I believe that comes first. The human side, the character side comes way first. And then after that, you can begin to layer in your other things. And like I said, there's been some pretty high profile people lose their roles because I think probably, you know, results haven't been there. But a lot of times I think that empathetic leadership, that servant leadership type of person is going to slowly, quickly be reinvigorated, for the simple reason that the other way is a little bit too mechanical. It's a bit too AI than the human piece. And I think sometimes we forget these are young people with feelings, problems and issues in their lives. And once I think that connection is made, once those relationships are made, then I think players will go, you know, run through walls for you. And I think that is the key now for for all young coaches. I think all of us, when we were younger coaches, we felt everybody listened to me and the ideas I've got, they'd all be better off. And then later on, you realize that actually it's a lot of the human side than it is the technical side. And I hope that begins to become much more emphasis, not only in our daily work, but in licensing, continued education, in learning and leadership that these people coming into the game want to, if they really want to excel in a high level in soccer, I would lead into leadership and the human connection far more than I would whether or not you're playing 3 at the back or 4 at the back or whatever you're doing with your wings, you know.
Mac has coached college level. I want to say it's D3. He's done the women, right, and so he's done D3, D1. It was wherever the ore diggers of the Colorado School of Mines are. I think they're D2. But you know, he's been at CSM. He's done UD. He's done the college game. He was at Chicago Stars in the NWSL. Now he's there at Lex. You've done different age groups. You've done different things. You've been all over the planet. For someone that wants to follow in that coaching path, I think we're seeing it. It doesn't really matter what your direction is. You know, you could go women, youth, college, small college, you know, Division I and pro. The pathways are different these days. So what advice would you give to someone who might want to do that as a career about how to pursue it? Because I don't think there really is that number one path anymore of success here, success here, success here. What advice would you give?
I couldn't agree more. And I think having that general background is really, really critical to anybody's future these days, especially the way the world is moving. I would say don't pick yourself into any particular role. Try video analyst, try performance, try the soccer coaching side, try it all. Work at different levels. Go on the field and work. Don't sit back and go, well, I'm waiting for my ideal opportunity, because that may never come. I would say the best thing to do is start somewhere, go somewhere, put in more work than paid for. Stop thinking about salaries and how much you're going to get paid and start working. And when you're young, especially when you don't have a family and all the rest of it, can do 18 hours a day and go to bed for 6 hours and literally come off the field at 10 p.m. and get back on it at 7 a.m. because that's the way to learn. People talk about 10,000 hours, which I know is a little bit of a myth, but try and get your 10,000 hours in pretty quickly. And I think when you're working and you're a person of character and people enjoy being around you and you're honing your craft in different ways, learning about these different aspects of the game and about how soccer clubs work, then eventually you will be a commodity, you will be an asset to people, and you will give more value than you're paid for at that moment in time. But I think if you're looking for a job title with a job description and then the stay in your lane mentality, I think would be a quick way to slow your career down. I would urge anybody out there who's looking to get into football, start somewhere, take whatever job it is that you can take and really go after it. Every passion with purpose and a lot of joy in your heart. That's the advice I would give to anybody out there, regardless of the age, whether you're starting or later, John. Go for it.
Technical Director, Youth and Academy, Lexington Sporting Club, our buddy Seve Cooke. And I'm going to let you continue consuming coffee. I cannot thank you enough for these visits because, yeah, we get to talk game a little bit, and that's fine. And that's coming up at 1 o'clock this afternoon with Mike and Jason. But doing the philosophical stuff with you, it's something that I've always enjoyed in our conversations, and to be able to share that with everybody else so we all can learn together. It's always cool when we can have these moments, Cookie. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, and have a great time.
Yeah, we'll see you up there in a bit. You're coming, right?
I'm going to give you a big hug, John, when I see you, so be ready.